Hello there everybody, it's Joe here, and welcome back once again to my F1 25 My Team Career Mode journey. First things first then, we've had some meetings with Charles Leclerc to see if we can nab him for Season 3. They're going well. Fernando Alonso has announced that he is retiring from Formula 1 at the end of the year. The double world champion is parting ways, and the even better news is that Leclerc has accepted our contract. So he will be driving for Joe H2O in Season 3 alongside Kimi Antonelli. Right, business aside, let's get to the racing end of things now, and we're here at the Circuit of the Americas for the US Grand Prix, the penultimate round of this season. It has gone by in a flash, hasn't it? And I'll be honest, it's a season that I'm quite glad to see the back end of, because it started with a certain level of promise and it just kind of went downhill in a dramatic way mid-season, where points finishes grew kind of scarce. We had some issues with reliability as well, one or two mistakes made, and just overall the car wasn't all there either in some of the races. But we're heading for the end of the season now, and we've stuck on some ultimate upgrades onto the car coming into this Grand Prix weekend, and I'm very confident that we should be strong enough to land some strong points this weekend, and even in the final at Vegas. First things first though, we've got sprint qualifying ahead of us, and in SQ1 we were P4, and I don't know, something in the air has changed here. Something in the feel of the car has changed, because it just feels a lot stronger than the beast that we have been wrestling with all through the season. And I don't know, I'm just feeling a lot more positive about things going into this weekend. Colapinto, P8. Unfortunately, we were just knocked out. But you know what? That is looking a lot stronger from us.
This is shaping up to be another fantastic weekend. We're racing today then in Travis County, Texas, where 20 corners and speeds of up to 200 miles per hour. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's sprint. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position. And Mika Hakkinen completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Piastri, Norris, Yuki Tsunoda, and Russell, Leclerc, Senna, Colapinto, and Pierre Gasly, Antonelli, Albon, Jack Doohan, and Sainz, Aaron, Hulkenberg, Isaac Hadjar, and Lance Stroll, Bortoletto, Fernando Alonso, Behrman, and Liam Lawson rounds off the grid. And with preparations almost complete, let's head trackside for today's sprint. And with me for this commentary this afternoon, former racing driver Naomi Schiff.
We have a 10-lap sprint ahead of us. What can we do? We are underway here at the Circuit of the Americas. Look at Colapinto going straight to defend Gasly. I'm looking for that inside line. See if we can nip a couple of them. But look at Albon, just fully sending it up the inside. Not a single crap given. And he moves up into P9 with that. Albon just going for the kamikaze dive bomb, and it pays off. We've gone off the circuit after a little touch from Gasly. Nothing really harmful in that. Nothing in that at all. And now we're starting to apply some pressure to teammate Franco Colapinto in the top 10. But I want to get after him. I want to try and get these places as quick as possible. And we're just going to send it up the inside of our teammate. A little bit of wheel banging there, and a little bit of a forceful overtake. And Colapinto, he just goes straight back through on the straight. The momentum he has I'm trying not to use all the battery, but Colapinto clearly a bit more aggressive on the battery as we go side by side into the corner. But Franco ultimately has to give up there, and we move into the top 10. We need 2 more places if we're going to score a point in this sprint. So let's try and dispatch Albon as quickly as we can. And in fact, we dispatched him there with DRS. Candy from a baby as Leclerc and Senna ahead are battling. The 2 teammates are having it out for P7, and that's going to be our driver next season. So hopefully we can give him a stronger car than what we currently have. But I tell you what, our pace in this sprint, it does feel stronger, it does feel improved. And we're now going to have a go at the 3-time champion Ayrton Senna down the straight. He can't really do anything about that, and we have got him covered. Up into P8 we go. Next up is Leclerc and Russell, and they're having their own battle ahead of us. But for now, we're sitting pretty as Mika Hakkinen is getting ready to have a go at Yuki Tsunoda, and Hakkinen down the inside of turn 1. That is a lovely textbook overtake from the Finnish driver, but Tsunoda trying to hang on through the complex here. One of these is going to have to back out for sure, and Tsunoda elects discretion is the better part of valor and letting that one go, as we're now trying to keep up with Leclerc and Russell in front, but we just do not have that pace for now, and we've got a yellow flag in front. Somebody slowing down. I suspect that is Max Verstappen coming to a halt. That is Max Verstappen coming to a halt. Verstappen will be out of this sprint race. That is not a good way for him to start his weekend. But after the amount of winning he's been doing in this career mode, I'm not going to lie, a small toxic part of me was like, yes, he's out. Now we're trying to hold on to P7 because unfortunately, in pushing so hard early on, we have cooked the tyres a little bit. We're letting Senna through so we can try and get DRS. We're sticking out around the outside. Albon had a cheeky little look in the middle of all that as well. But now we're going side by side with the Ferrari. The straight line speed he has, though. We need to start working on the engine power upgrade side of things, because that is where we're being let down at the moment. That was a very forceful closing of the door on Senna, wasn't it? But we hold on to P7, and if we can hold on to that, it would mean 2 points in the sprint and a lovely, lovely start to this sprint weekend. But the problem is, the more we fight these guys, the more time we're losing up front. But until the tyres were cooked, I could argue that our pace was relatively decent, about half a second to 3/4 of a second off the main pace, which is better than where we have been. And look at us go. We're keeping Senna and Albon behind us and doing a nice job of it. Lap 8, again letting Albon through so we can have the DRS. He's got past Senna. I have no idea what happened to him. So Senna's had a moment somewhere and, unseen by us, pitted in. So I think Senna and Albon must have come together because we haven't touched him. And now we're going back down the inside of Alex Albon, having let him through on the straight to get the DRS. And now we're watching Lando Norris hassling Yuki Tsunoda. Or is this Tsunoda coming back at Hakkinen? I'm not sure what we're seeing. No, this is Norris going after Tsunoda to the outside of the straight, and Norris just breezes through. Candy from a baby, and Tsunoda dropping to P4 now. So Yuki Tsunoda has lost a couple of positions in this sprint. And look how much time we've lost fighting everybody off here. Sainz has now got ahead of Albon, who's had Gasly battling in as well. So a lot of drivers joining this battle for P7. I am insistent on holding on to it. And Senna, you can see him on the map a moment ago. So he's lost position somewhere. Look at Sainz going down the inside. Is he going to make it through? Yes, he does. But we're going to hold on to the position and arguably do a better job than the coming together we had in Season 1. No such drama here. Oscar Piastri wins this sprint race then. But we are going to hold on. We are going to secure some points. for P7, which is not a bad way to go. And we're going to get through the last couple of corners now, clipping the apex beautifully as we do. Final apex to go, P7, 2 points. I am happy with that. That is a job well done for us, and some hard fighting there to keep the position. We lost a lot of time fighting them off in doing so, but there's more positives than negatives to take from this one. And I'm looking at the positives in that the car is genuinely starting to look a lot better than what we've had throughout the entire of the season. It's actually starting to look and feel like a car that could threaten the front runners. It's no better a finish than anything we've had all season yet, but with the Grand Prix ahead, I'm confident about this one, even though we are going to start from the back of the grid because of taking on a whole load of new components. We've just gone for everything, and we're going to start from the back of the grid.
You don't need me to remind you that Formula One is now so beloved in the United States that we race here 3 times a year. But let's give respect to COTA, or the Circuit of the Americas, to give it its... Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. Mika Hakkinen lines up on pole position, and Yuki Tsunoda completes the front row. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Norris, Russell, Charles Leclerc and Senna, Piastri, Albon, Colapinto and Fernando Alonso, Gasly, Stroll, Carlos Sainz and Behrman, Hülkenberg, Bortoleto, Isaac Hadjar and Liam Lawson, Doohan, Aaron, Verstappen and Andrea Kimi Antonelli rounds off the grid. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head down trackside for today's race.
The sky is falling down on us here at Austin. It is torrential rain as we are on the grid, but we've got a race ahead of us because we're actually going to use the full wets, unlike real F1, and we are underway. Look at Verstappen in P21, but again we're looking for that inside line so we can commit to a bit of late braking while the field backs up, and that was a very, very nice little move up the inside there. We managed to get ourselves up into P14. My goodness, this first sector is terrifying in these conditions, and the AI are struggling, I think, a lot more through this sector than we are, so that's going to help us throughout this Grand Prix. At the moment, we have moved up 8 positions. I'm looking for a 9th on Sainz here, but we're not going to get it there. And look how slowly we're going through the first sector. We're already a minute into the race, almost actually, and we're not even, only just going past the first sector now, as I have a look at Carlos Sainz, but again, no way through there. We've got to wait for the end of the straight, where we're going to send it and take the position up into P13. That is a lovely move. That'll do there. And now we're going to start setting our sights on Lance Stroll. So from P22 to P13, let's see how far we can make it in this race. Is there a cheeky little move up the inside of Stroll on here? Oh, I'm not sure. That's a bit of a risky one, but we have sent it. Stroll is now on the inside. I'm on the outside. I've got more grip and I have the position. P12, 10 places gained in 2 laps. Most of them actually through that brilliant dive at turn 1, which has put us in a good position now for the rest of this Grand Prix to challenge for some good points. Lap 2 of 28. We are now completing the first couple of laps of this race, and the one thing that I'm hoping here is that we can secure a double points finish in this race. Behrman is out of the race, and that has brought out the red flag. No complaints from me there, as it gives us a moment to just stop and think, especially after that first sector. It's terrifying in these conditions, but we've had a bit of a pause. Now we're ready to go racing once again here at Austin, and we are back underway on lap 5 of 28. And again, I'm going to look for that inside line, but Gasly's taking it, but we're just going to have to outbrake him, and almost outbrake ourselves there. But the good news is the amount of places we gain there. We're up into P7 and we've got Franco in 9th, so we do have both cars in the points. And that would be a first time in this career mode, and if we could just do that, for me that would be such an encouraging sign that everything is moving in the right direction. But I'm now getting ready to challenge Oscar Piastri for P6, but I just don't think pace-wise we're there. But I tell you what, our confidence in Sector 1 is allowing us to stay close to Piastri, and looking at the circuit now, I'm starting to think, are we approaching the time where we could go on to intermediates, as there is a clear drier line that has developed. Obviously you don't want to go off that line, otherwise you're just going to skate off. But the one thing that's clear to me now is that that drier line exists. The rain is still hammering it down, but it is starting on lap 11 to get a bit lighter now. We haven't really made any inroads, but Leclerc is giving me some issues from behind. But as the rain has started to ease now, I am definitely confident that pitting for Inters is the right thing to go. Häkkinen's just set a fastest lap of the race, which is a sign the track is drying. So we're going to make a late call to come into the pits at the end of lap 11 out of 28, and we're now in the pits to take on those intermediate tyres. But there's a yellow flag behind. I don't know what's going on there. Someone's slowing down. I think it's a Sauber as we pull into the pit box. It's Hulkenberg that's out of the session. A red flag now would be absolutely awful for our race. But that is what's happened. Wow. That is just so unfortunate for us. P15 on intermediate tyres, but we have caught a break because everybody else, as we get the restart going and head up the inside of turn 1 for our late braking trick again, the rest of the pack are on full wet tyres and we are on intermediates. We're on the right tyres, so we might naturally have an advantage here, but we're not going to have an advantage because we've gone offline a couple of times, which is not going to help the tyres. But we are on the right tyres for the conditions, and I'm now fighting Fernando Alonso for P9, which we've taken. Next up is Colapinto in 8th. He's having a solid drive today, and I tell you what, there is an opportunity for us here, especially if drivers start pitting. There is a big result potentially available for us here. We have a look up the inside of Colapinto. He's not interested in any of that, but we have got the faster tyre. So Franco, if you please, don't get in my way, don't hold me up, help me out here, play the team game. And we haven't actually been able to get past him just yet, but as we look how slow they are here, this is presenting opportunities now as we start to look at Colapinto going to the outside. But again, you're not going to do anything there, and we're just going to fall wide, and we end up almost falling prey to Max Verstappen, and we're still on the back of Colapinto, but it's a dive up the inside of the final bend up into P8. No sign of anybody pitting yet, so they might be trying a wet to slick approach here, which, if they are, they could lose time. Look, we've already caught the back of Oscar Piastri at the end of lap 16. We've set 2 purple sectors, so the pace is really strong. Piastri electing to pit in then, so this is a crucial moment in the Grand Prix. Piastri pitting in. We've set a fastest lap of the race. Leclerc's still out there on those full wets. We're going to try and go down the inside here. Leclerc losing grip, but we've got him. Next up is Ayrton Senna in P5, and we're just swimming towards the front of the field here. This is an extraordinary Grand Prix. Where can we end up? Where will we end up? Leclerc might want to go at the end of the straight here, but he's just not able to make anything from it, and this is where we're super strong. This sector right here, so we need to try and avoid sliding and just take the corners as we should. Here's Senna now, so slow, and that is how we're just able to send one down the inside and move up into P5. Next up is Lando Norris. Can we catch the front cars? What is possible here? And are more cars going to pit? Piastri, we know, is on intermediates, and I'm waiting to see what his pace is like. Senna, meanwhile, on lap 19, is having a big moment there, and he spun round. Senna spins, and that holds up Leclerc, who gets back going. Senna now catching the car, getting back going again, but that's a place lost to quite a few different drivers. And now we're all over the back of Lando Norris, and we've caught the front train. So we are looking at a very strong result here. Another fastest lap. But the only problem is, with the circuit drying, our tyres are going to cook as well. So, this race could go either way for us, as we now get onto the back of Lando Norris. And that pace from Piastri is worrying. That's the advantage of having much newer intermediates. 2 seconds he has on us here, as we now take the dive up the inside of Lando Norris, move ourselves into P4, and that would put us on for a best finish of the season. But we're not done there. We're going to try and catch Hakkinen, Tsunoda and Russell in front. And in fact, I think one of them is pitting. That's Mika Hakkinen into the pits. So Hakkinen into the pits. We're now in the podium paying positions here. We are potentially on for a podium in this US Grand Prix if, and the key word is if, we can hold on to P3. Still a long way to go, but look how much this circuit is drying. 6 laps left. Tsunoda into the pits as well. Up into P2. Russell electing to stay out. So is Norris. And so are the cars behind. Piastri is catching at a rate of knots as well. So this is going to be a very interesting end to this US Grand Prix. And now we're trying to get after George Russell for the race lead. This is not something I saw coming into this weekend. But if we can take it, what a morale boost that would be after the season we've had. And Alonso, who's the last car on wet, 16 seconds behind. But Piastri has got clear of him now. We're harassing the back of Russell. And the track is basically dry. So these tyres are going to start overheating big time. The wets are holding on pretty well at this stage, it's got to be said. I'm just trying to keep these intermediates in though. We've got 3.5 laps to go, and I'm venturing to the wetter part of track to try and cool the tyres. And we're really putting the pressure on Russell now. Norris is closing in, but Piastri got clear of Alonso. He's gaining by about 2 to 3 seconds a lap. And if he does catch us, as we take a dive up the inside of George Russell, and we take the lead of this US Grand Prix. I was just saying that Piastri at his rate will catch up by the final lap, but what a send that was on George Russell as we now lead this Grand Prix. And as we begin the final lap, Piastri is there, right behind Lando Norris, and our tyres are cooked. There is no grip left on them. Every time I press the throttle, I can feel that the grip just gone. The car is sliding. We've got very little overtake left to protect us on the straight. We've just set a 45.0, Hakkinen a 39, which shows you how little grip we have on this lap. And, well, if the McLarens get past the 2 Mercedes, we're a sitting duck. The track is now bone dry, which is really heating these tyres up further. We get a track limits warning there. I just don't have the grip. Luckily for us, the McLarens not yet are able to pass the 2 Mercedes, and the gap is still about a second to Russell behind. But we just gotta take this so carefully now. Look, the car sliding at the rear there as Hakkinen and Piastri are fighting each other. That works for me. If those two fight each other, They're not fighting the Mercedes, which means they're not going to be a threat to me. But we still have a sector to go, and I'm worried that any second these tyres are going to go bang. They have had it. Look how slow we are through this sector, and it's just gentle on the throttle. I'm having to gently steer in to make sure that we don't lose grip. This corner now could be the last point these tyres go bang. I'm going so carefully to ensure that we keep the tyres inflated. 2 corners to go then, and I think we're safe. I think we have done it as we now get into the last corner. The tyres screaming in pain, but we win the US Grand Prix. Come on!
And so the celebrations begin, and well-earned they are indeed. It might have looked simple at times, but as any racing driver will tell you, competing at this level at the very top is anything but simple. There's no catching them now then. We have a new World Drivers' Champion. And it's victory for Andrea Kimi Antonelli. What a win! It's time to bring out the bubbly and spray it around. It's our podium celebrations. A young man with a big future. Today's a winner. Well done, Kimi Antonelli. After an event like that, who knows what the sport has in store for us next time out? Be sure to join us once again as we continue to bring you all the excitement of Formula One.
Oh yeah, and Max Verstappen became world champion. No big deal, you know. But it is a win for us, and you know what? That is one I'm so happy to take. After the season we've had, to grab that with 2 to go, that is a nice boost, and that is a great way to start closing out this season. What a drive that was. We held on just about to intermediates that were literally clinging to life, and we grabbed that victory. First of many, I hope. Russell second, Norris third, Piastri and Hakkinen fourth and fifth. They were really hassling us at the end, and that moves Antonelli to P9 in the standings. 7th in the sprint and a win in the feature. Not a bad weekend at all. And like I said, after the season we've had, that is such a happy reward to receive. Verstappen is champion now. Norris won't catch him in Vegas, the final race. And I think Mercedes and Red Bull are going to fight it out for the finale. We move up to 6th. Can we even displace Williams in 5th in the Constructors? I don't know. The potential is there. Thank you for watching this instalment of Career Mode. Please like and subscribe. And until the next time, TTFN, ta-ta for now. Take care and enjoy the rest of your day.